Hello, hello, hello. If you're watching this, you missed day one of our week 9 Foundations of Technology lecture. Let's go ahead and get started. So we are moving away from isometric drawing, which was due last Friday. If you still owe me that, please, please, please make that your top priority. Come to my office hours. We can work on it together Wednesday if you need to, but I need that as soon as possible so we can move on with our lives. And we're moving on to orthographic projection, assignment number 16, which we started last time, but didn't quite finish. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to do it, and that was the majority of what we did during the class period. My objectives are that you can create orthographic projections given guiding lines, find missing orthographic projections, and ultimately, something we're moving towards but not quite yet today, is to be able to construct a 3D model based on orthographic projections. For our warm-up, I had you guys sketch what you thought the isometric view of this would look like given the projections, and this is what it actually looks like. So this is a fun visualization exercise to try on your own. We are continuing to talk about this idea of preserving width, height, and depth. So if this is our shape, if we look at it straight from the top, straight from the front, and straight from the side, we always preserve some kind of pair of dimensions among any two of these that you pick. So, for instance, if our pair is these two, we preserve length. If our pair is these two, we preserve height. If our pair is these two, we preserve depth. So always one dimension is preserved amongst any pair. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the assignment and do some of it together. So this is the kind of part right below this table. We tried this table last time in class, so hopefully you understand how to do it. If not, please send me an email. I'm going to go over how to do this part. So to start off with, you want to make sure that you're going to use straight lines. Select the straight line tool. And you also want to make sure that when you draw your straight lines, you pay attention to this indicator up here at the top with the little blue lines. If all of those lines are on top of each other, you're about to make a straight line. If they're not, your line is going to be at an angle. Let's go ahead and make a line that goes straight from the back side that you can see off the top here, all the way down. I'm going to make this line purple. Remember, we don't want to use black lines. Black lines will be reserved for your final shape. Any other color is fine, though. Why did I draw this line? Well, we need to figure out the length of our shape here. The length is preserved on the top side as well as the front. So we can figure out the length simply by outlining our shape. Let me try that a little bit neater here. There we go. And ta-da! This will give us the total length of our front face. It's from here to here. Now we need to figure out the height. Well, the height is not perceivable through the top view. So where can we see it? We can see it on the right side. So we can do the same thing. The blue lines are over here on the left-hand side when you do horizontal lines. So make sure they line up so you can make a nice straight line. And last but not least, we need to the bottom. If we do all that, we now have a box. This box is the correct dimensions to house our front-facing outline here. Now, how do we figure out what that projection should look like? Well, you need to envision yourself looking straight at it. What does it look like? It looks like a giant L, right? In order to then draw that giant L, we need to figure out this length up here to figure out how far over we should go. And we need to figure out this height to figure out how high up we should go. Well, how do we find those? You need to use what you're given inside the other two projections. This edge right here represents this edge right here. Hopefully you guys agree from the back to this edge gives us this desired length. So it's this length right here. If I draw just a straight line going down off of my drawing here, this will give us the correct length. It's the same length as it is up here. We can do the same thing for height. this edge right here is this edge, and of course, it is the correct height to represent a bottom of our L here. So let's do that. Ta-da! Now we're not quite done. We need to figure out exactly where the shape is by using a polyline, this time black, to represent the final solution. So if we start at the bottom left corner here, go up to the top of the L, try it one more time. Start at the bottom corner, go up to the top of the L, over, down, to the right, down, and complete the shape. That is the final view of what we should have. This should be purple since it's not part of the shape. Alright, and last but not least, we want to make the border color black, and we want to make it a little thicker, and that is what our projection should look like. And if you could please make it transparent, that'll make it nice and easy to see your construction lines. So that is the idea. Now it just gets trickier from here. Let's take a look at this example. Now we can't use both the right face and the top face because we are missing, we're missing the right face. We have the front instead. So how do we figure out what it looks like? It's going to be a little bit trickier because now we need to transfer a measurement from the top up here to the right-hand side. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to recognize that the profile of this shape from the right side is going to look kind of like a backwards L. A good place to start, similar to the last time, is by figuring out this height restriction. So our height restriction is going to be here. Let me go ahead and make this purple. And from the very tippy top, like so. That is our height restriction. Now, it's up to you where you want to start drawing the back side of your shape. So I will just draw it over here where I put the bracket. But if you were freehanding it and you didn't have brackets, you can just decide anywhere you like. And that's fine, so long as it's not too close to the shape so they don't overlap. All right, so we got that figured out. Next, we need to figure out the length down here. How do we do that? Well, really, I give you this bracket, so it's probably going to be that measurement, but how can we be sure? We need to use the top view. The top view, remember, has two dimensions to it. It has the length going this way. By going this way, it shows us depth, which over here goes left to right, but over here goes up and down. So it's a little trickier. We need the depth, or this dimension right here. How do we figure that out? Well, we need to draw a straight line, then select the mouse tool and drag it to where we would like it to be along the bottom here. Once you've got one of its edges lined up, hold the Shift button as you move this around to preserve its length. If you don't hold the Shift button, its length will change. So there you go. The next order of business is to figure out how high up this should go right here. Well, for that we have a point of reference over here on the front face. So let's go ahead and draw a straight line going across, very, very similarly to what we did on the previous assignment, for example. Ta-da! Something like that. Alrighty. Can't quite see this bottom line, so let me make it a different color. Let me go ahead and make it red, just so we can see it a little easier. Alright, there we go. Okay, what do we do next? Now we have to measure out this top part so that we know how far across to go. To figure that out, we need to recognize that this right here represents this rounded section, and its thickness over here is really the depth that we're going to need. So similarly to what we did last time, we need to draw a straight line, completely straight line, please work with me here. There we go, and make sure it's the right length. And once you do that, you need to select it, drag it over here, hold Shift, and turn it. Let's go ahead and make that red. Perfect. So once you got that, we can add one final construction line, and then we'll be able to draw our shape. So let's go ahead and start up here. Go straight down. Make sure that's a straight line. There we go. And now we're ready to switch to polyline and finish our shape. So it is a backwards facing L. Oop, let me try that one more again. It's right here. There we go. And let's make it transparent and increase the line depth, line width, and let's go ahead and make it black to signify that it is our final answer. Alright, last but not least is this example right here. It uses everything we've talked about so far. Let me just walk you through how we get to this profile. Looks kind of like a number 9 with a really long tail on the end here. You need to figure out these two lateral lines as well as these two to figure out how tall this section, and this section is going to be. And then you need to figure out how far over to start each of these lines. In order to do that, we use the same trick. We measure this length, transfer it over here, and rotate it while holding shift. This length represents the entirety of this barrel, which is this length up here. And then to figure out this little divot, we can use this measurement from the edge of the barrel to the base of it right here. And that should give you everything you need to draw this last shape. If you have trouble or anything is confusing, please send me an email, and I hope to see you guys next time. Have a good one.